Back in the day of the arcades, developers were told to make their games hard as fuck, because every time you lose, the game would be like, ah, man, that sucks, you died. So you got 20 pages. But then when games came to the home, they couldn't keep begging for your money like the arcade. But because making a game can take a fucking lifetime, developers were told to just make a game hard as fuck, so it would take you a long time to get past it. Like in the first Mario Bros game, if you get a game over, you would start all the way from the beginning. It didn't matter whether you were at the first level or at the last level, because Miyamoto himself would come out your TV and be like, ah, shucks man, you got a game over. Guess you won't be needing this then. But now we're in 2025, when games can now look like real life, and people will still find shit to complain about. And difficulty is one that divides players the most. Some people will say that Elden Ring is way too easy, or some people will say it's way too hard. And then you've got people like me, who are still trying to get past the fucking Donkey Kong Country minecart level. This game was made by fucking monkeys. Most games will open up with an option of what difficulty you want, and on the surface, this seems like an easy decision. First time playing a game, just want a chill time, and I'm a fucking masochist. But when you actually break it down, it becomes a much harder decision, because now all of a sudden you got shit like ranking systems that have the same requirements for each difficulty. So you could be playing like a fucking arsehole on the hardest difficulty, but it follows the same ranking systems as the easiest difficulty, so you will still get that S rank. And it certainly doesn't help that many games will just be dicks about their difficulty and will just have a random spike out of nowhere. Like this is Mile High Club on normal. It's very easy. Then this is it on hardened. A little challenging, but you'll get through it in no time. Then this is it on veteran. What the fuck? Most games that have a chosen difficulty are very basic with their approach. Make the enemy stronger and have more health. That's about it. That's all they do. It's very lazy, but sometimes developers will actually make this choice a bit more fun. Around 16 years ago, a guy by the name of Anthony Birch made a video about Metal Gear Solid 3, and he said how he liked the hardest difficulty a lot more than the normal difficulty because it made him feel a lot more immersed into the game. You see, in Snake Eater, there's this very overpowered set of moves you can do called CQC, which basically allows you to grab a guy and fucking break his neck, so anytime you get spotted, you can just CQC his ass and you'll be fine. But on the hardest difficulty, because the enemies would kill you just way too fast, you had to take a very different approach. You couldn't just CQC them. So for like the first time in a Metal Gear game, you had to actually sneak around like you're supposed to be doing, and that just immersed him so much more and gave him a bigger sense of accomplishment. The most viewed video on this guy's channel is a fat guy dancing half naked in a Santa suit. A game that kind of did the same to me was Resident Evil 7, because on Madhouse, a lot of shit would change. Like now, instead of just slowly walking over to you, Jack would just fucking sprint at you, holy shit! Some games will just sort all that off though and just stick to a set difficulty that you can't change. And if I'm being honest, I have very mixed feelings about these. Because on one hand, yeah, it's pretty fun to play a game the way the developers intended you to play it, but on the other hand, sometimes a game will just feel way too easy or just way too hard, and there is literally nothing you can do about it. Like I think people would say that for the most part, Crash Bandicoot is a pretty easy game, but then when you get to that fuck-ass bridge level that is just a pain in the ass, there is nothing you can do about it because there is one difficulty setting. And on the other hand, if the game you're playing is just way too easy, then you'll probably say some shit like, why the fuck isn't this just a movie? I'm basically only watching and sometimes making partial inputs. And again, you can't change this. It's why so many games like Mario, The Legend of Zelda, and Sonic the Hedgehog have one difficulty, because these games go with the strategy of easy to pick up but hard to master. Like Mario 64, that came out when the fucking dinosaurs were still working at GameStop. But even today, people are still finding new game-breaking ways to truly master the game. But you can still play it and have fun, even if it's the first time you've ever played a game. A game like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Grand Theft Auto don't have a difficulty setting because those games have so much more to offer than just the fighting and shooting. Red Dead Redemption is a whole-ass fucking cowboy simulator, alright? You can literally just live out the life of a cowboy. And Grand Theft Auto lets you drive around and fucking annihilate an entire pavement full of people. These games don't need a difficulty setting because you're probably not playing these games for the difficulty. You're probably just playing it to have fun. Speaking of video games being fun, I think that most people think that video games are supposed to be relaxing. Something you do to unwind after a long day of work, you know? Me personally, I go to college and I have a job and I do this YouTube stuff on the side, so when I get to play a game, I kind of just want to chill for a bit. Now, if this description describes how you want to play games, then never fucking buy a Souls game. For a long time, I never played Dark Souls. I always just kind of heard about it like it was some coming-in-age thing. A rite of passage for every gamer. And for years I heard how hard it was and how the game was just unfair at times. But a lot of gamers just complain about anything and everything, so I kind of just ignored it. But then when I played Elden Ring, holy shit. I am not even joking when I say for like the first 20 hours of Elden Ring, I was just fighting this fat fuck. And here's the first boss of the game. There are 165. Souls-like fans often like to say the difficulty in these games is tough but fair. Yes, the game has rules that make it hard, but those rules are consistent, and if you just get used to the game's rules, you'll eventually be able to beat it. Basically, to boil it down, Souls-like games are just games that are fucking hard on purpose. Like, one Souls-like that came out recently was Silksong, and people are saying that the game is so hard they have to make a mod just to be able to play it. The mod came out a day after the game did. Now, there's a huge debate on whether or not these mods should even be allowed to exist. I mean, no one's gonna outlaw them. Your head's not gonna be fucking put on the block for making Silksong a little bit easier. But when people say this, I think they're coming more from an ethical standpoint. The whole point of these games is to be challenged, to give you the sense of accomplishment. It wants you to fail over and over and over again, because when you finally beat it, there is no better feeling. But when people make these mods or use exploits to intentionally make the games easier, it kind of takes the whole point out of it. Most Souls-like games are designed with this challenge in mind, so when you remove that, what's the point? Like, you've probably seen that meme where the guy says,
"You cheated not only the game, but yourself. You didn't grow, you didn't improve. You took a shortcut and gained nothing. You experienced a hollow victory. Nothing was risked and nothing was gained. It's sad that you don't know the difference."
Well, that was actually a comment responding from a guy who said he cheated on the last boss of Sekiro to make it easier. Now, on one hand, I can see the argument of what's the point of making it easier? The whole point of the game is to be hard. But I can also see where others are coming from of just wanting to appreciate the other stuff the game has to offer. But if you're making it easy because you can't jump past a fucking pillar, I don't think you should be allowed near a fucking controller. Look, at the end of the day, games are meant to be fun, and it's up to you to decide how you want to have that fun. People have such a wide range of what they call fun. Some people have fun in 100%ing a game and doing everything it has to offer, and some people just like running around and killing people with explosive punches. If you want to play a game on the easiest difficulty and just have a fun time, then go for it. If you want to play a game that wants to make you squeeze your balls till they burst, that's up to you, man. You can do that. Just don't ask me to clean it up, alright? I ain't coming, and neither will you after what you did to yourself. Basically, guys, what I'm trying to say here is Fortnite is the hardest game of all time. Like, can your sweats please get off the game? I just want to win.